Good morning, McGuanago, and welcome back to The Den, where all things McGuanago are open for discussion. The podcast where we share the stories, people, and projects that make McGuanago such a special place to be. I am your host, Diana Dykstra, Village Administrator, and today's episode is all about our beautification projects in the village and our Downtown Development Committee. Joining me today is Village Trustee Scott Reeves. Thank you
Thank you.
so
Thank you.
much
I like
for
that music.
coming.
It's going to be in my head now for a while.
I know. I have had the pleasure of working with Scott for at least the last 6 years, I know. And I really understand how much work you've put into the downtown and this community. So I really want to start with just a little bit about yourself and your history here in the village.
Okay. Well, presently I've been a trustee for about 4.5 years. And before that, I was on the Downtown Development Committee for approximately 2 years as a citizen member. But I grew up in Eagleville, right behind the Eagleville Grade School. Uh, Graduated from McGuanago High School in 1976, where I met my first wife. We married and bought a house in McGuanago, and we're here about 12 years, and then moved into Vernon for a couple of years. And then we went our separate ways. And I came back to McGuanago and married my second wife, who was also a classmate of mine from 1976. So I have married two classmates. I hold that honor. It's been brought up at every class reunion that I'm the guy that's married the most classmates. But before that, when I was living in McGuanago the first time around, I was a volunteer fire department member and an EMT for about 10 years. That is when the firehouse used to be right about where the drive-through of the Walgreens pharmacy is located. That's where our firehouse was. And it was exciting. And did that for 10 years. And it's about average. You kind of burn out. I know there's a lot of guys that were on there for a long, long time. My brother-in-law retired as a chief, and it just was something that I just needed to move on from. So,
Yeah.
you know, it got to be, I was on a lot of uh, strenuous and cases and accidents and fires, and it got to be too much. So then we moved out of the village for a while, and then, like I say, I moved back. Um, a good friend of mine, Roger Walsh, who was a local business owner and former trustee, he got me onto the Downtown Development Committee the first time around, and then I don't know how he did it. He talked me into becoming a trustee, and
That's how it starts.
exactly. I came in and filled out my nomination papers. There just so happened there was two open seats because two weren't running, and Ken Johnson and I we walked in. We didn't really need. We had no opposition. We both won one reelection, and this is my second term, and that's basically about it. I've seen a lot of changes in McGuanago, uh, such as when I was in high school, all the football games were played at Field Park.
Really?
Yeah, they were all played there. We didn't have the high school field when I was in. I was the first class to go all 4 years through that high school. So while they were building that field and everything, we still played the games at Field Park,
Wow.
which is kind of fun because cars kind of were all around with their headlights shining. We had lights, of course, but people could park in their cars in the end zones, and you know.
Wow.
And after that, it was a tradition to go to Jerry's Drive-In, which is about where the Van. It's not Van Valen. I'm sorry, I forgot what the name of the funeral home is down there. Um, but there's a drive-in there, and that's kind of the hangout. And other than that, it's just been interesting the last fun growing up here. There's a website, a Facebook site called I Remember McQuantico Before There Were Stoplights, and I truly do remember when there were no stoplights in this village.
That
So
is hard to
yeah,
imagine.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's basically about it. I'm sure I forgot something, but
Well, I think it's interesting to hear that and to hear the progress that we've made since then and just trying to envision the downtown with the fire department right there
mhm.
where Walgreens is. Um, I know that one of the most visible projects that the committee oversees is the beautification program. How did the planter program get started?
I
I really do think that this is a community favorite. This is one that people always ask about, and even those tiny donations that come in, the $20, the $5 make a big difference.
I th I'd actually believe it was Ron. He gave us a brochure, and, I think it was something that was talked about before I got on, and then when I got on, we finally started doing it. So, I think we started out with 6 sets of planters, a big one and a small one, and we, strategically placed them around, and then after that, we've grown to 10 sets of planters now, and people do like it because I water them. I'm the one that waters them. Ron and his crew put them out and take them down, and I help out the village by watering them.
Now these are special planters.
They're self-watering.
Okay, and they're like concrete. They're not
No,
just.
they're plastic. They're
Oh,
heavy.
are they?
They're heavy duty plastic. They're
Okay.
rather light when there's no dirt in them, but they hold. I think the large ones hold maybe 18 gallons, and the small ones hold 8 or 12 gallons.
So how often do you have to go out there
I
and water
water
them?
once a week, and I probably don't have to, especially if we get rain. But I find that if I go 2 weeks without watering them, then it takes me 2 trips with my truck full of water. I've got a 50-gallon
Oh.
drum full of water, and I've got 11 or 10 5-gallon pails.
Oh, wow.
So when I water them the first time, it's 3 trips. It's about 2.5 hours.
Holy
Yeah.
cow.
Yeah, but after if I go once a week, I can get them done in 45 minutes. And I do have, Fork in the Road. They water the planter in front of their business. Um, I'm sorry, Espresso Love, coffee. Dave waters that one. That's over by between him and the museum. And then, Roger Walsh waters the one in front of his, uh, building, which is now House of Frank, which they're
Yeah,
having their grand opening Saturday.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or
Or
no,
no,
Saturday,
Saturday,
sorry.
yeah. So, that another new business coming in, which we really like being part of the downtown.
Yeah. Um, can so I when I was in for the Memorial Day parade, I was walking by and I saw these little tags in the planters that were commemorating someone or something. Can someone donate and have their name engraved, or how does that work?
When we initially, bought the planters, we decided we had a donation program to sponsor a planter, and for a certain amount of money, I can't remember how much it was. It was 250 maybe. You could dedicate a planter to a group or, a family member, um, and then that will stay in there for the life of the planter. And we've got some that are like the Kiwanis, donated for one, and Citizens Bank, I think or no, some credit the credit union donated. We've got a couple. My favorite one is this lady. She wanted to. It was in memory of her husband, and she just she just had in memory of, I think, Jim. And I called her up and I said, "Do you want something more?" She goes, "No, I think just in memory of Jim will be fine." I said, "Well, okay. Was he? It's just that's it. There's nothing special." She goes, "Well, he was a really great guy. I think that'll be great." So I
Oh,
went,
I saw
it
that one and it
and
says
it's
to a
to a
really
really great
great
guy,
guy.
yes, and she loved it. She called me up and she said it was fantastic.
I love it. I
And
love it.
yeah, so but that's how and they're also a little tag on there. Thomas Greenhouse is the one that supplies the plants for all of
I
our
was going to ask
planters.
that. So they come and do they plant them for
They
us?
plant them and they'll they must come through because I know last year I wasn't, the first couple of years I was only relying on the water. You fill these up and they water from the bottom up. And if it's really warm, the tops will dry out, and I wasn't adding any water to the top. So some of the plants with shallower roots were not doing well. So I have to water the tops also a little bit. And they must have been monitoring them because they saw that some needed to be replaced. Now, they not only plant them right away in the spring for Memorial Day about that time, but in the fall, they'll come and take out all the plants that they put in, and they replant with fall plants.
Thomas Greenhouse does
Thomas,
this?
they plant
Right
twice a
before
year
Fall Fest, isn't
for
it?
Fall Fest, yes.
Do they do this for free?
Yes,
Oh,
and I was so shocked, that, the first couple of years, and I we to show our appreciation as the committee, we give them a gift card for a pizza party. And, "Oh, you don't have to do that, you don't have to we it's a pleasure doing this, we'll do this for as long as we can." I don't wanna take it for granted. So, and I
Absolutely.
appreciate them, and I encourage everybody to go there and get their plants because just to show their appreciation for what they do for the village.
Yes. Yes. That is such a great gift from them. So, um, so I know that your the downtown development committee is not just about flowers. You
No,
guys do many other things. So tell me a little bit about some of the other programs or projects that you guys
a
are
couple
involved
years
in.
ago, I don't, it might have been you that got us started on the banners.
Oh yeah.
We had a banner program, and we picked out banners. Help me with it. It's eat, play, and
Oh, um, there were the banners from the downtown committee make the downtown yours,
yeah, down to yeah, and then it was the
and
eat,
then
play,
they
and
had eat, play, and stay
eat,
or
play. And- Yeah,
something.
that's it.
Yeah,
I
something
wanted to
like
say
that.
drink, but that would
Yeah,
no.
yeah. I saw those. And then we just recently did some for Phantom Junction
Hmm.
stage and made some generic ones for like some of the things that we're known for. So maybe Fall Fest, um, Midnight Magic, Father's
Yeah,
Day,
parade,
Parade, um,
Memorial Day.
Summerfest, things like that, that are traditional every year programs that people know and just want to mark on their calendars. So in looking at the downtown, the banners sometimes it's hard because you've got a lot of distraction. You've got trees, you've got electric lines, you've got, you know, long poles and so I am looking forward to the new
I,
maybe burying the power
yeah,
lines
everybody is.
when everybody comes through.
It's it'll be quite different because the street lights will be different. Because right now
Nice
it's just
decorative lighting
well,
that
there'll be decorative
yeah,
lighting and there'll be banner brackets on those. Um, I think it'll look. I can't wait. I hope I'm around here.
I
You
know.
know,
I
I
am very
just
excited
yeah.
about that.
It sounds like if I don't know how many people remember what Waterford looked like before their big project. That took a couple years.
It
It's
does.
beautiful down there, and they buried a lot more wiring than we're going to. So if they can do it, we can do it.
Exactly, exactly. So the other thing I know that the Downtown Development Committee has been working on is wayfinding signage.
Yes, um, that was a big need. Where's the library? Where's the police department? Where's the museum? Where's parking? How do I get to the high school? And we have plans for that, and it's in the budget, but we can't. We could put them up, but if we did, they're just going to come down when with the 83 project.
And I think that there was a discussion, and you guys probably will be visiting that again about how can we put these up without with some temporary base, so
Um,
they can be
One of our committee members, Jason Wamsner, he's our sign guy. He's worked for signage companies most of his career. He talked about this. These posts won't be buried in the concrete; they'll be bolted. And I think if they're along a highway, a county highway, they have to have what's called breakaway bolts. So if they get hit, they're going to break away, and they're not going to stop a
not get
car. They're
destroyed.
going to break. So they'll be basically easy to put in and pull out because it's just the cost of the bolts. That you'll
Yeah.
have to move.
You mentioned once about Christmas lights.
Yes, We Energies was really encouraging communities to get away from their incandescent Christmas lights and go LED. And I think they had a program to help purchase them. I'm not sure, but Ron tasked our committee to come up with a design, and we all wanted stars and bells and nutcrackers and everything. But in this time, an age and time, you have to be very politically correct. We can't we can't advertise Christmas, I'm
Right.
sorry to say. So basically we just ended up with a snowflake design. And they're nice.
Yeah.
They're bright,
I,
every light bulb
I've
works.
seen them. It's
They're very nice at night, and especially when it snows, they look beautiful.
so
So,
yeah, taking those on that can be a big thing. And I know that it's hard for public works too to comply with all the things that we want
right.
because they only have limited resources
Yes.
and
And
people
it's
and
storage
time
too. I
and
mean, it's easy to store 30 snowflakes in one spot. and not have to mix them up with nutcrackers or bells or angels. They're
Sure.
all the same
Yeah.
size. They pack good.
Um, so wayfinding, obviously we discussed, but one of the other topics that sometimes comes up is parking. And I know we have the village parking lot on Jefferson Street,
Hmm.
but that's where the wayfinding can come in because a lot of times I hear people say, and this could be residents or visitors, say that they didn't know there was parking back there.
Exactly. I think there's a little sign that says municipal parking. There's also a parking lot, a public municipal parking lot behind the Red Brick Museum. But most people
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
They don't, and there's no sign that says this is a municipal parking lot. So that's, I don't know, 25, 20
Something
spots
to,
maybe.
yeah.
It's long, and it gets used by people that want to go to Espresso Love or the little shops that are right there, especially the museum when they have their
And
events, which
things.
they were limited for the last several years to just every other Sunday, but now they are open every Sunday. Yes, which this Sunday, I believe, is their first time open for the year. So everybody head over there. They'll appreciate it. Leave a donation. Check out the renovations to the
And become
log
a
cabin.
member. I think a membership is only $15.
$15 for a single, $20 for a family, I think it is. And I've been a member for years, and I just do the family, and I just give them $100. It's like use it, for the help with the log cabin and that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, that looks
So, but no, that's a jewel in the village. A lot of people were like, I've never been in there before. It's really interesting. I mean, it's a lot of McQuantico stuff in there. In fact, one of the highlights in that museum is a bicycle made by the Mystic Bicycle Company that used to be made in McQuantico here. But McQuantico had a bicycle company. So,
that is amazing because we had Wanna Go Biking, and then
hmm,
Wanna Go Biking moved over to Booney's
okay.
Bikes, and so we still have that traditional.
Well, that's another thing that we've come up with on the downtown development committee. If you go through other little villages, and even Port Washington, that's not a little village, but they've got murals on the side of their buildings, and a lot of them have to do with the history of the village
Right,
or the community
tells
they're
the
in.
story that.
Right. And Boonies has that beautiful big empty spot on the ES side that would be it's just begging for a bicycle painting on there.
Sure
And
is.
Music Cafe. I mean, that's a very popular spot. He would like to put a mural up on his
That
side.
would be amazing.
Yeah. So that's another
Something for them
unofficial
to
project
visit,
we've
yeah,
talked about on the
yeah.
DDC.
So beyond beautification and flowers, I know some of the projects, and last night at the village board meeting, the DDC had presented their goals and objectives for 26 and 27, and they completed the downtown strategic plan, updating it with all the things that they've accomplished. And we do have those goals and objectives on the website that you
Mhm.
can click on. So there's quite a few things that we're going to try to work on, including business outreach.
That was one thing that was very surprising. I do know that I think you yourself and President Fred go to the larger businesses,
Yeah,
Badger Wire, Banker Wire, the Pad Place,
employers. Yeah,
you know.
touchpad.
But n- we were amazed to find out that nobody really goes in and checks on the smaller businesses. We've had a couple businesses come and go, and why did they come and go? What happened to them?
What can we learn from
What?
this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they need help? Was there something that we can supply them? I don't know. And
And I do believe that this committee can be pretty essential when it comes to the State Highway 83 reconstruction because communication is going to be very important to those small business
Oh,
owners.
exactly. Parking. It's if you think it's not really that wide of an area that's going to be disrupted. It's going to be 83, a little bit on Main Street. Yes, there are back streets that a lot of people don't know about,
Yeah.
and um, like I don't want to pick on Boonies. Brock's a great guy, but he's going to be impacted by this. He doesn't have a lot of parking as it is. So I think if we get the word out there on how to get to these businesses, different routes, where to park, I think that would help, businesses out a lot.
So I saw on the last agenda you guys were visiting the historic sign.
Yes,
Tell me about that.
that came about, a couple years ago. I'm driving through the downtown, the square that the locals call it, and I happened to see turned out to be a husband and wife, young couple, and they were at the historical sign that's right on the square. And the guy was pointing at this and pointing at that and turning around and scratching his head. Well, I'm nosy. I'm a nosy guy. I went around the block. I pulled over. I went up, introduced myself, asked if he had any questions, where stuff used to be, because a lot of the stuff on that sign, the buildings aren't there anymore. Um, the field house, which is directly across the street from the Red Brick Museum, that was taken down due to water damage and freezing pipes, and that it had to come down. It was condemned. And there were other spots on there. So I I just happened to walk up to the sign and I saw that it was pulling away from the posts and it's rotting. I I could put my hand almost through some of the spots. I actually went home and got my screw gun and some screws and screwed it back on. And that was the point time that I decided, well, maybe as a downtown development, we can take this on as a project. And we have. We have a couple of very good members. Eliza Holtz and Tina Chitwood, who went and talked with Henry Hecker from the museum, uh, Jeff Van Evenhoven from the museum, Abby from the library, and they did research and they took some of the wording that was already on the original sign and then added some and gave a very good story of McGuanago. And we're in the process of placing that order in the next few months, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess if there was one thing that you would like residents to know about the Downtown Development Committee and maybe the volunteers that serve on it, what would that be?
Uh, the volunteers that serve on that committee are a very dedicated bunch. I think they are the best committee that this village has, and it's like unsung heroes. They are very dedicated. Um, we've got a diverse group. Um, they take the task seriously. Uh, Updating the strategic plan was a tremendous undertaking. I think it was basically Tina. Sorry if somebody else helped with it too, but there was three tiers to this thing, and there were projects that were to be completed, some that were completed, and some that we're not going to get to. So we all gave our 2 cents worth on what we thought was going on with these, and she put everything together. And then James Power, our he takes all our notes and stuff at the meeting. He did a very good job of presentation last night, putting together the 8 talking points, and Tina and Eliza brainstormed at our last downtown development committee and then explained it to the village. Some of our, just like a wish list, some of what we wanted done and what we needed help with and what we were looking at. I think the presentation went fine. It wasn't too long and they were very precise and I really appreciate everything they do.
I thought they did a great
Yeah.
job.
They didn't want to.
Nobody
But-
likes talking in front
No,
of
but they did a
of-
very good job.
Yes. Well, Scott, thank you very much for taking time to come and talk a little bit about something that not many people get a chance to hear about. So I appreciate your time. And folks, we are out of time here today, but I want to thank everyone and all the committee members who do serve on the Downtown Development Committee. That would be Scott Reeves, Jason Wamser, Tina Chitwood, Eliza Pouts, James Power, Dave Carpenter, and Brock Anderson. Thank you so much for listening today to What's New from the Den.
Thank you.